Now this video was initially going to be a follow-up to my first rig roasting video, and I was going to address a complaint that a lot of people had in that video, which was I wasn't mean enough to the PCs. And then this happened. It looks like a Matt Damon-shaped genital wart. Yeah, there we go. That's how you roast a PC. So after that happened, I thought maybe I shouldn't roast PCs. So now I'm just gonna have a look at these PCs. We're gonna talk through them. There's no obligation to roast, but roasting may come. So let's have a look at these awesome systems. Now starting off with this one, this is a pretty cool looking PC with a 3700X in it. Now as we established in the previous video, only terrible human beings own 3700Xs. So yeah, you qualify for that one. You've got 32 gigs of DDR4 3600 megahertz in there. It's really cool. I like the fact that you've got a little bit of RGB in here, but you're not just massively over rainbow vomiting it. I like that look. I think this is a really nice looking system with a tough X570 motherboard in there with Wi-Fi. I actually think that motherboard's built-in Wi-Fi is one of the most underrated PC features. So that's pretty cool. I don't know why your mouse is in there. That doesn't really make sense. Do you just store it there? Is that its favorite place to live? Is it really good friends with the Ant-Man figurine? It's a bit of an interesting spot to put it, but yeah, and then you've got a little bit of purple RGB in the front. Yeah, this looks really good. I really like this system. It's got an RTX 2070 Super with a Gigabyte 3X version. These are really good cards. I really like Gigabyte's coolers that they use. So yeah, all in all, a very, very nice system you've got there. Next up, we've got this bad boy, which has got the whole T-virus effect going. I don't think I've actually seen one of these in the wild, so that's pretty cool. 8600K with 16 gigs of DDR4 3600 megahertz. And then there's a Strix GTX 1070 in here. Now, I feel really bad for this card because it's being squished right up to the side panel. Shame. Can't you just put it in horizontally? It is a really good looking card in this kind of configuration, and then you can really see the green because you're clearly going for a virus effect here, which is very topical. But shame! What are the temperatures like on that? Now moving over to the next system here, which is clearly owned by somebody who spends way too much time on Discord. You can just tell from the radiator orientation in here. This is a real beast of a system. There's some pretty terrifying looking cable management, but we'll get into that in a second. CPU wise, there's another Ryzen 7 3700X in there. That's interesting. Welcome to the club. That seems to be a very popular CPU. I wonder how regularly they sell those. 32 gigs of DDR4 3600 megahertz. Everybody seems to have much fancier 32 gig kits of RAM than I do, so pretty jealous on that one. The GPU is an RTX 2080 Ti that's being cooled by a 360mm AIO. That's pretty crazy. It seems like your system's pretty dusty in there, but that's fine. I know that kind of maintenance is such a pain in the butt. What radiator is the CPU using, or what AIO? Oh, an alpha cool one. Okay, I didn't actually recognize that one. It looks a little bit like an EK block. Oh, there's a second GPU in there. It seems like you've got a bit of an inter-series GPU fetish going on here. What is that? GTX 1060 Ti. Okay, so that's probably for folding. Cable management is pretty scary. This kind of looks like the back of my PCs, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, there's so much stuff. There's not much you can do about it. And it seems like with this case, what is this? It's Thermaltake level 20 GT. So it seems like Thermaltake is in a bit of denial about the existence of full cover PSU shrouds. So there's not much you can do about that. They're a really cool PC. Okay, moving over to the next one by Sloth. Ooh, this is a super beautiful, clean looking system. This looks like a German factory floor. It's just so well kept. Look at that cable management. It looks like you made those cables yourself, because they look like premium cables. And you know how you can tell if somebody's cable management is really good? If you look at the AIO block, right? Especially NZXTs, because they've got like RGB stuff on there as well. if you have to actually look to see the cables coming off of that, you know this person put a lot of effort into this build. This is a beautiful system. So there's an 8700K in there at 5 gigahertz. That's awesome. Also 32 gigs of RAM. That seems to be a very popular amount of RAM as well. An RTX 2080. It's an EVGA version. I really like this EVGA cooler design. I did a video on a super variant of that card and I really loved it. An H700i. Cool, okay. And then... ooh, very little SSD storage. So it seems as though you invested all of your money into cables and faster gaming performance than actual storage. But that's cool. That's a really nice looking system. Holy crap! I like the knight you have in there as well, with the little planty as well. Is that looks like Fred? Is that the same plant that Hardware Canucks has? I think so. I think it's the same one. Now moving over to the next system. Okay, we've got a Ryzen 3 2200G based system. That looks pretty good. I mean, as far as cable management goes, it looks like the case isn't the greatest, and it seems like you put some effort into getting most of the cables hidden. I see, what case is this? Does it say? Case, a PC case, it's a Cougar MG110. Okay, does it not have like cable routing holes for the CPU cooler? For the CPU power. That's something that a surprising amount of budget cases do for some reason, and that really agitates me, because then you have to do that whole thing. You've got a single stick of RAM, which is not great for the 2200G, but you've got a dedicated GPU in there, so that will alleviate a little bit of the memory bandwidth concerns there. I like the stickers on this side as well, yeet. Is that what you're gonna do in like 4 years when you're done with the system? You're just gonna yeet it out. Although, wait, I just noticed you've got it on the carpet. Oh no, the poor system. Do you know what I recommend doing with this? And this is something that I do with my editing PC, which I actually keep on the floor because I don't have much desk space. I just got like a plywood plank that I put on the carpet and then put the system on top of that. And then you don't have nearly as much issue with like airflow and stuff like that. And then you can have your PC on the ground. So, get it off the carpet. Okay, so the next system here is... oh, that's really good. I love these cases. This P600 is just such a good system. Someone did a video on it a while ago where they liquid cooled it. They called it the Gladiator build and it looked really good. So as far as specs go, you've got a Ryzen 7 2700 in here. It's been all Ryzen. Okay, no, there have been a couple of Intel-based systems, never mind. But they're older Intel-based systems. It seems like all of the newer PCs are Ryzen-based. Intel is just getting bent over a table and had at the moment. This is a really good photo, by the way. The rest of the specs, you've got a Vega 64 in there. Awesome. That's a huge cooler. That's cool. And then motherboard-wise, what motherboard is that? Prime X470 Pro, and then a Corsair C650M. So when you look at these specs, you can see that you really prioritized performance here. That's really good. That's a well-spec'd out system. Now moving on to the next one. Again, Ryzen. This is... It seems like my Discord is clearly being paid by AMD. But a Ryzen 5 2600. Oh, also a purple theme. Gerald Undone would be really happy with that. I feel like that's a fairly niche reference, but anyway, just for PC gaming, that's a fairly niche reference. 16 gigs of RAM, DDR4, 3200 megahertz. Okay, same as this one. You can tell that these systems were built in a different era to the Ryzen 3000 systems, because they all have slower RAM in them, because, you know, just a year and a half ago, RAM was way more expensive. 1660 Super, that's a really good budget GPU. Not like mid-range GPU, probably. I think budget is a strong word there. Motherboard-wise, an ASRock B450M, which is such a good-looking B450 board. I love the aesthetic of that. The Cooler Master AIO is also looking good here. I didn't really like the look of it just when you see product pictures of it separately, but here it looks really nice. This is a very overkill cooling system for a Ryzen 5 CPU, but that is... oh, is that a mini ITX? Is that a Fractal Design case? Where's the... oh yeah, it is a Defy Nano S. Oh, cool. That's good. That's good. You can see that it's been around the block. The tubing looks like it's been used for ages, but that's a really nice configuration. What GPU is that? A 1070. Okay, so Again, cooling-wise, it's a bit overkill, but that is a really good-looking liquid-cooled system. I actually think soft tubing is really underrated. Now, moving over to the next system, this is, the Borg Cube. That's amazing. Just when it comes to the name, you've won this episode of Museum of PC Art looking at. That's an awesome name. I love the green theme. I actually used to have a green themed PC way back in the day before RGB, where you just had to commit to the color scheme of your system when you bought it. So yeah, I had a green PC and I really like it. It looks really nice. Another Ryzen 7, a 2700 at 4 gigahertz with one of those Storm Capitan AIOs on there. An Aorus 5700 XT, cool. I think Gigabyte's 5700 XT cards are the best. I think they've got really good coolers on them. And you've also got some really nice sleeved cables here. It's quite difficult to see what's going on in this system, but it looks like it's a real beast. 32 gigs of RAM as well, DDR4, 3600 megahertz. Running at 3200 megahertz with a lower cache latency. That's cool. Now moving over to, it's a Ryzen 3 3300X based system. You are a person after my own heart. I love this CPU. I really want to do a build with it, which I've been threatening to do for ages. I should just go ahead and do it, but that's cool. You're one of the 5 people that actually got your hands on one of those. So you got 16 gigs of RAM there, DDR4, 3200 megahertz, and a 1650 4 gig, overclocked by 15 to 20%. Oh, that's cool. That's a pretty long looking cooler on that card. It's Gigabyte version, does it say? Oh, it's just the Gigabyte version. Okay, cool. And then an MSI B450A Pro Max. This is one of the better B450 boards when it comes to VRMs. Omega Pro, who is omnipresent on the channel, has a chart of like what CPUs the various motherboards can handle. He really loves that chart. But this is one of the motherboards that does better on that chart, so that's cool. You could potentially drop a 3900X in there if you wanted to. You've got a Core i7-2600 in there with 16 gigs of RAM and a GTX 1650. So this is the Ferrari of low-profile OEM system-based gaming PCs, with a 4 terabyte hard drive in there as well. Now the next photo, you've got a picture of some hideous dude on your on your PC there. It's actually quite weird. It's a pretty strange contrast because you've got that guy, and then you've got some Raspberry Pi looking porn on the other 2 monitors. This is a really cool gaming setup because you can just rest your monitor on the actual PC, and then you've got some awesome looking speakers on the side with a PS4. Okay, you can get some serious gaming done over here. It looks like you do some streaming as well. I wonder how this system handles streaming. But the GTX 1650 has NVENC in it, so you can probably use that and get some pretty good results. That's a nice looking setup you got there. So with that, it brings me to the end of a video, which is basically just me going, ooh, at all of the systems of the Museum of the PC Art on my Discord. But I didn't want to just randomly shoehorn roasting in there, because I feel like these systems don't deserve roasting, you know, because all PCs are beautiful. If you like this video, like and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one. Let me know in the comment section below which of these was your favorite system. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. Until the next video, bye-bye.